They are prepared to put the alleged rights of child sex offenders, pedophiles, murderers and a contract killer before the best interests of the Australian community. Peter Dutton told Anthony Albanese
he's depriving a village somewhere of their idiot.
What he needed to do to ensure that the AAT had the clear ability to deport these people. Mr Albanese did not listen, but Peter, he deliberately did not listen because their heart is not with the Australian people. It is with protecting the rights, and their actions show this, pedophiles, child rapists, murderers and a contract killer.
That's my style. I hope you've noticed that.
Judge them by their actions, not their words.
My word is my bond.
Not much has changed under this government when it comes to deporting foreign criminals. Today we learned that a convicted child sex offender and a Lebanese man who was part of a large-scale drug operation have been spared deportation and will remain in Australia, despite the former Immigration Minister Andrew Giles telling the Parliament
he really is an idiot.
He had fixed his notorious Ministerial Direction 99.
But Chief, if that were to happen...
That's right, 99. It would be a disaster.
And some disaster.
Now, both men in this instance were assessed by the Administrative Appeals Tribunal under Giles' replacement direction, so the second direction, but it seems it's no better than the first one in terms of keeping Australians safe.
But I'm sure you'll understand you never know when a Senate investigating committee might be investigated by
A traitor.
a Senate investigating committee.
I mean, this was a firestorm for the government earlier in the year. Andrew Giles tells the Parliament he's fixed things, he's had a mop-up direction put in, and then we find this happens. Clearly, he's not fixed anything.
I mean, we'd always said life wasn't going to be easy under Mr Albanese. Well, not only that, Mr Albanese, as the Prime Minister, should also be taking responsibility for the failed direction. At the time, Peter Dutton said...
It's obvious to all Australians now the Prime Minister may not be
lesbian,
but he's a shocking Prime Minister and he can't make decisions that ultimately are in the best interests of our country.
We need a change of
lesbian
in this country.
The truth is that...
Sometimes I wish I was a lesbian.
The direction as drafted by Mr Giles will fail because...
It's stupid. And he is taking the Australians for a ride with this type of madness. The sooner we get rid of this Labor government, the better.
Because you are not making ties to the community a secondary consideration. So Labor were on notice, despite the warnings from Peter Dutton and the opposition, despite saying to them,
do it or Victorians will die.
This is what you need to do. All talk. They told the people of Australia they'd solve the problem. But what have we now seen? A child sex offender, one of the many released out into the community by Andrew Giles, is allowed to stay in Australia.
Shame, shame, shame.
If I was Mr Albanese, I would be
lesbian,
fronting the Australian people and saying, I have directed my new minister, Tony Burke, to withdraw the Giles direction and implement what the coalition had said, what Peter Dutton had said needed to happen. So this is, quite frankly, it is failure on behalf of Giles, but more than that, it is failure on behalf of Mr Albanese to keep Australia and Australians safe. Peter, this is a child sex offender. Quite frankly, you don't get more disgusting.
I think that Australians will shake their head when they think that this...
Child sex offender.
No matter who they love, no matter what their identity, no matter where they live, we need to be a country that respects everyone for who they are.
And their actions show this. Pedophiles, child rapists, quite frankly, you don't get more disgusting. But more than that, it is failure on behalf of Mr Albanese to keep Australia and Australians safe. Labor are not committed to the safety of the Australian community. Labor have clearly shown they are prepared to put the alleged rights of child sex offenders, pedophiles, murderers and a contract killer before the best interests of the Australian community, because their heart is not with the Australian people. It is with protecting the rights, and their actions show this, pedophiles, child rapists, murderers and a contract killer. Judge them by their actions, not their words.
A great example of us providing
pedophiles, child rapists
in order to
remain in Australia
before the best interests of the Australian community.
Reach for the stars.
His true character has shone through for all Australians to see. He is a weak and impotent Prime Minister